Is Reformer Pilates worth it? Let me break that down for you just now. So Reformer Pilates, in case anyone doesn't know, is a type of Pilates done on a special machine called the Reformer, which uses like springs, pulleys, and a moving platform to create the resistance. It's designed to actually build a bit of strength, improve posture, flexibility, challenge your core, all that good stuff. Stuff that regular Pilates doesn't do. Now, everyone, including their pet goldfish and their grandma, even the Bollywood actresses nowadays are doing Reformer Pilates. It makes for good pictures on the magazines and the social media content. Does it work? Well, yeah, but it's not going to tone you up. It's not going to shape you up. Here's what it doesn't tell you. In order for your muscles to actually grow, get toned, shape up, yes, you need to lose body fat. You need to create resistance that your body can adapt to, and then it allows you to progress with more weight. Pilates, Reformer Pilates doesn't actually do that because you can't exactly add more weights to it. So whilst it itself is not a bad thing, if your goal is to tone up and shape up, etc., no, Reformer Pilates is not going to do it. However, here's where most people are getting fooled. The celebrities and the Bollywood actresses who are doing this sort of stuff, they already lift weights. They lift weights. They are lifting heavy ass weights. They're getting stronger. They're doing the heavy squatting and the movement patterns, but that's not fun. No one wants to go through a 45-minute workout and take you through the reps and the sets and the techniques, etc. People want to see a fancy machine. People associate Reformer Pilates with being feminine, right? That's what it's all about. Utter crap, right? Because at the end of the day, lifting weights is feminine. You get strong. What do they say? Strong is the new sexy. So Reformer Pilates itself is not God's gift. If you want to do it as part of an already well thought out resistance training routine, absolutely, that's fantastic. But don't spend 40 to 50 pounds on a class thinking that this is going to get you in shape. If right now you've got weight to lose and you want to tone up in the process, go to Decathlon, go on Facebook Marketplace, get a secondhand kettlebell or a dumbbell and just follow a basic lifting routine at home. Build some strength. That's going to be far more better and more cheaper for you rather than you shelling out 400 or 500 quid a month doing these classes, especially if you live in London. So Reformer Pilates is great. If you want to use it to accentuate an already well thought out plan, that's absolutely fantastic, but you cannot expect to just go into these classes and step on these machines and think, okay, this is going to get me in shape. You're going to be in for a rude awakening. We've had a number of people who've gone against our advice, and if they want to get in shape, they've immediately jumped to these classes because their already fit friend who already lifts weights goes to these classes, and it's resulted in them hating it, and they've actually never wanted to exercise again because they did something that they shouldn't have been doing in the first place. So if right now you're watching this and you're wondering what the best way to get toned is, Reformer Pilates is something that can help, but 90 to 95% of the progress is going to come from lifting weights and progressively getting stronger. Yes, I know what you're thinking just now. Oh, but I have a friend or a cousin or a relative who goes to these classes and they're getting in shape, and that's great. But I can almost hand on my heart guarantee that those individuals are also doing some sort of resistance training on top of that, whether it's themselves or going to classes. So I'm not hating on it entirely. It's great. It is a fad in my opinion because everyone nowadays is jumping on the bandwagon, and these things, they're a money-making business at the end of the day because it gets the hype going. People can see that these are private classes where you can elongate your muscles and tone them up by doing these movements. Yeah, it's quite laughable. So if the goal is to tone, lose weight, you lift weights, you get strong, and muscle starts to appear under the surface of the skin, so giving you that skin tightening effect almost, and that's how you get a toned feminine physique. Now if you're watching this and you already lift weights and you want to include Reformer Pilates in your routine, here's how I suggest you do it. You focus 80 to 90% of your efforts on weight training, lifting weights, getting strong, progressively trying to improve on your workouts and lifting more weights and more reps, etc, etc. Then if you want to include one Reformer Pilates class a week, you can absolutely do that, but just make sure it doesn't impede recovery. Some people have made the mistake of thinking that it's going to accentuate your recovery by, you going to the gym or lifting weights and having the muscle soreness, the DOMS, wearing it like a badge of honor, and then you're thinking, right, I need to capitalize on this newfound growth by going to these classes and then stretching the muscle out so I can tighten the skin. No, it doesn't work that way. I would say do it on a day away from weight training, ideally 1 or 2 days afterwards, so that it doesn't interfere with recovery, because toning is going to come through building muscle tissue, which Reformer Pilates just will not do. I'm not making this up. This is just the way our bodies operate. This is basic biology. You cannot create something out of nothing. It requires resistance. It requires tension, overload. That's how something grows. You cannot do light weights and you cannot rely on body weights alone. which is what Reformer Pilates heavily relies on. I mean, yeah, there's some resistance as well with the pulleys and the movement attachment, so there is resistance, but there's not going to be enough compared to if you're going to be lifting weights. So yes, it is a decent tool, but I would rely more on weight training where you're able to target certain muscles and apply a hell of a lot more overload. So there you go, not hating on it entirely, but please just make sure you've got your priorities in check. If you're just off the sofa and you want to lose some weight, you want to get back in shape, I would start with the fundamentals, which is your food, obviously, doing your movement every single day, like your steps or some basic cardio. And then if you want, and if you've got cash to burn, then you can go to Reformer Pilates if you want. Now, I know a number of you will disagree with what I have to say, and that's totally cool. We all are entitled to our own opinion, so please let me know in the comments below if Reformer Pilates has transformed your life. And on the topic of building muscle and getting toned, creatine monohydrate is a supplement I would add into your daily regimen. If you don't know what that is, then guess what? I've created a video on that specifically for South Asian ladies. It's going to help you, I promise. Please watch this before you go, and do consider liking and subscribing to the channel if you found any value in this. Lots of freebies and stuff in the description as well, so do check that out before you go, but watch this video before you go. I promise you it's going to be very helpful.